Hey guys, Sean Bougie, surplusfundsriches.net. How about now? Sorry guys. Looks like it's working. Let me know if you can hear me now. I changed it over to the other mic. That should have fixed everything. There we go. Cool. All right, guys. And by the way, welcome. Let me go up here. Anne, Cherie, Cheryl, Jason, Damon, Philippe, TB Forster, Kimberly, and again Philippe. That's great. Uh, and Sean. Hey, Sean, it's been a little bit. It's been a little bit, I think, since I've seen you. Anyway, I am at family member's home. They had some surgery today, so I'm going to be staying with them here this evening. So I'm in their dining room, so not the same background that you guys are used to. Really excited, guys, by the way. I don't know why, and this thing it'll change from time to time, but the average surplus we're putting together right now is pretty intense. Um, I would say the average right now is around 75 grand, which is the highest it's ever been. I don't know why that is. It may be partly because we're working with heirs. We've been working with heirs now for about 2 years, and that has really paid off. And we have a great network of that. It might be simply a, a market thing where we're seeing more and more of the high dollar stuff coming out. I have no idea. But that's some really good news. My last two, just so you guys know, the last two payments, energy drink, the last two payments that I sent out, one was for 14,000. You guys might have seen the testimonial for that from Carol, and the other one was for 16,000. So the payouts are really high because the average is going up, and that's a really big deal. C pay to me, Doug. Hey man, good to see you, says Sean, and Carol says hi, Sean. Hey Carol. I think I was just talking about you. Anyway, a lot of stuff going on. Really good news with that. Um, one of the questions I wanted to address, because we've never addressed it before, and I get it a lot, and I don't feel like I've been completely upfront with you guys. People ask me why I don't say what states to work. Well, with the national, for instance, you can work 47. With the panning, I think it's 20 something. And anyway, we don't want to lead people to certain states for two reasons. One is, hey, if there's a couple of guys in that state tearing it up, I don't want to take the honey hole away from them. And besides that, we work in all the states. It's just not an issue. We will not work Colorado. If you're with National, you can't work North Carolina because you can't get a list. And Florida is a separate program because the statutes are so different. Other than that, it's wide open. But besides there being like little honey holes that people have, it changes. There are a couple of states right now that are so hot that were horrible a couple of years ago. And I'm not going to tell you which ones they are. Um, but if you're working it and you're finding like you're not getting quite where you need to go in that state, guys, stop. People feel like they have to work their own state. Stop. There's no reason to be stuck in your local area or in a particular state. There's just no reason for that. It's online from home. So definitely look around, check stuff out. We've had stuff turned in recently that we hadn't had files in forever. Part of that, I think, is the tax surplus strike force allows us to estimate tax overages, and there's a state where we just could never get a list from before, and we're getting some in from that one now. So really great as far as opportunities coming up. Philippe says, well, that's great. Capit says, hello, Sean. Anthony, good evening. It's great to be here again. Can't wait to get one under contract. I hear you, Anthony. Philippe, I enjoy working multiple states. There you go. It's a little different from state to state. And I know that like you get caught up in, okay, I finally figured out the register of deeds in this state, but you know what? The other ones are not that much different. They're really not. Another thing I wanted to say is we've got a big sale tomorrow. It starts at 10 a.m. Eastern. Again, it'll probably sell out, but if not, it'll be up no later than 10 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. We only sell programs once a month just because we want to monitor the number of people coming on board and because we partner with you. So we really want to watch how many people are coming on board with us. Tax Surplus Strike Force is no longer available on its own. We did that January and February. We warned everybody February was the last time you're going to be able to get that on its own. It's not available on its own anymore. Jeff runs special bundles these days, which is kind of nice. And another thing we're looking at is right now the National Surplus Partnership is $397. The National Surplus Do-It-Yourself No Partnership is $297, or you can get them combined in the full version for $597. Save $100. Get both versions. That's probably going to be going away too. Most of you guys that have been around for any length of time know that we hadn't broken those apart until I think maybe mid last year, something like that. So that's probably going to be going away soon too. I just want to be upfront about that because I know people, there's always crying after a sale if we change something. Sean, what's the difference between the stealth surplus funds versus surplus funds 60/40? In your opinion, which is better? Okay, so what we are offering is the stealth surplus 60/40. And what that is it is this, I'm sorry, is the stealth? No, it's the panning. I believe 60/40 we're offering. You know what? Jeff puts these together, not me. So I'm going to take a real quick look here because I want to make sure I'm telling you the right thing. I'm pretty sure it's the, let's see. Yeah, it's stealth 60/40. My fault. Let me get out of there. Okay. So the difference between the stealth surplus 60/40 and this will probably be the only time we offer that one on its own too, and the regular tax surplus, or rather the regular stealth surplus program, is those are going after, they're both going after property before the foreclosure hits using an estimate of what the surplus is going to be on the back end. The 60/40, the regular version rather, with that one, you did not have to call. You had to figure out what the value was, not hard to do. You had to research the debt, look at upcoming tax sales, turn it into us. We did the rest. The 60/40, you've got to call them. You have to call them and make sure they're willing to speak to us about, we call it a grant program, where we give them some money right after the sale and then more money after we claim the surplus. And we use a deed to make sure that it's in our name at the last minute. We tell, by the way, guys, full transparency to these guys, we tell them exactly what we're doing. But the stealth 60/40 gives you 60% of net instead of, I believe it was 40% of net. So it does require that you call, but it's not hard to reach those people because they're still in the homes. So they haven't lost their phone. They're still in the house. It's easier to skip trace, or even a lot of times just find them using even non-pay systems because they're still in the property. Simple systems like white pages. It's just amazing what you can use to find them. So that's a hot program. But again, you got to call for that. Let's see what else we got here. Sorry, guys. Keep the questions coming. It is, oh yeah, good. It's only 8:09. Hey, I'm sorry about the initial issue with the audio. I'm glad we fixed that right away. Thank you for your input on that. And again, I really appreciate everybody coming out. It's really important to have the community because, and I've said this a million times, there's always a question somebody asks that you didn't think of. So it's important to be a part of it, and that's kind of a big deal. I am excited about tomorrow's sale because we're building on momentum right now for the year. So typically, you don't really see stuff going back together, being put together really hard until March or end of March or April. And that's because a lot of the courthouses kind of slow down over the holidays and they don't want to have foreclosures right after the new year. Well, that's changed because the county budgets, they can no longer wait on the tax overages, and the banks have been moving a lot more quickly on the mortgage overages. They've been moving a lot more quickly foreclosing on people. So we're ahead of the game this year, is what I'm trying to say. We're ahead of the game about a month. We've seen, oh my God, Jeff would tell you too. The number of deals that have been put together recently has been unbelievable. And just so you know, I'm very proud of my crew. When you sign up with us as a partner on most of these programs, most of them don't require you to call anybody, skip trace anybody, mail them, any of that. We find them, call them, mail them, hire the mobile notary and the attorney, and pay you a good split. National surplus, it's 27% of net. Panning is, what is panning? 35, 40. It's pretty high up there. Really high splits. And we've been really proud of that because if you look at some of the competitors, they'll show checks, and here I'm throwing out checks 14,000, 16,000. And these guys are showing you where they're splitting a check up with somebody. There's only one or two other people that partner, and they kind of sort of partner. Anyway, their checks are usually 2,000 to 4,000. And there's a lot of reasons for that, not just because we get higher deals together, because we have a lot more credibility, not only online, but we're always using attorneys, and we give them a structured buyout. We actually give people a portion of the surplus funds up front as good faith. Within 10 business days after they sign up with us, we'll give them 10% up to 10 grand. That's kind of a big deal for somebody that just lost their house and they're broke. So that's helped us a lot. But I'm really impressed with the crew too. I've an all woman crew. I have 3 full-time case managers that make over 1,000 calls a week. No kidding. It used to be around 800 to 900, and then recently one of them broke out of that and went over 1,000, and now they're all on that level. We also mail. They're also sending out mailing, not only to the claimant, but also their possible relatives and associates. They're also calling their possible relatives and associates, trying to get a hold of these guys. And it makes a difference. And I'm really proud of the crew. And that's something that you get built in partnership with us, and that's kind of a big deal. We've got the submission system. We have a part-time, 25 hours a week, data entry, just to enter data and to keep track of that. We have an attorney liaison, a supervisor, 3 different case managers full-time. Obviously, I also have Jeff doing reviews of all the files, and he handles support, and he's the back end for submissions, for checking submissions, on top of Jenna, who is our supervisor and also submissions person. It is a really tight crew that works extremely hard, and I'm really proud of them. Anthony, for the spring, summer, and fall, what programs are best work on a seasonal level? Well, I kind of answered that just a minute ago. Anthony, I must have been zenning, with you here, channeling you. Sorry for that. It's bouncing around. Typically, right now, it's a little slower on the foreclosures, but it hasn't been this year. When we see the stuff involving deeds, in other words, deed flip programs, and this is why we're launching the 60/40 Stealth. I think it's going to start really picking up in the summer because it had slowed down a little bit. With the Stealth, the problem with the Stealth is we always knew that a good percentage of people would redeem their property. In other words, pay off the debt before the tax sale hit. They were playing chicken with the county. A lot of people do that. It was higher than we expected with that program. I think that's going to drop down. There are a lot of good economic signals right now, but there's also so much up in the air. And you got the stock market doing this, so the whole perceived wealth thing going on is kind of at risk. It's just a wild time right now. I really think it's going to get a little worse before it gets better. That's my opinion. I think the threat of war on the horizon, and I'm apolitical, guys, as far as being on here, I don't really have an opinion on that. I just don't. But I think that the threat of that is going to have an impact on people and their ability to make rational decisions, and a lot of people are going to walk away from from properties that they might have been able to make it work, which is it's a good thing as far as opportunity, and we're here to help them, so that's good. I never, please don't ever misunderstand me. I do not cheer on foreclosures. I don't want anybody to lose your house. One of the worst things that can happen to you, right? But if they're going to lose their house, having somebody capable and experienced and knowledgeable to step in and help them get a good portion of that money back, it's kind of a big deal. And yes, I do think we wear the white hats. Yes, we're a business, but we're wearing the white hats. All right, hold on. Hope I answered your question with that. What do you receive with the $397 package? I'm at home all day because I'm on disability. Good question. So you've got the main crux, the main part of our training is in writing. It's an ebook. It's a step-by-step ebook. You got to take your time and read it. It doesn't get overly technical. Read it through twice for comprehension, and then start taking the steps one by one. Now, there is a link in that ebook that goes to a resources page with some ancillary videos that kind of augment it, but you really don't need them. And of course, the submission system is also online with the resources page. You get email-based support. Jeff has 2 or 3 business days to get up with you with answers on email-based support. He typically gets back much faster, typically a day. Sometimes if he's bogged down, it may be a day or 2. But you get that. You get these live webinars. Obviously, everybody can do that. But you've got the email-based support, the ebook, and also the resources page with additional video training. And that's where all the submission stuff is. Another thing you get, just so you guys know, and I know there's a lot of people in here that haven't signed up yet. Another thing you get is access to our active files working list. What that is a list of all of our files that have already been turned in. We put that up there so that as soon as you get a list, first thing you can do, we update that list once a day, Monday through Friday, usually in the late afternoon, evening. You take the names off the list, you're getting ready to work if you're going to work a list. You know, if you're working Panning or Strikeforce, you're creating your own list. Either way, though, take the names, open up that newest PDF, or rather Excel worksheet. No, it's a PDF. Open up the PDF and do a Control F search. Make sure it's not on that list before you research the debt. That way, there's 2 reasons for that, guys. One, you're not researching something we already have, so you're not wasting time, yours or ours. The other one, we don't run into the issue where you turn in a file and we go, sorry, we already had that one. Well, you're not going to trust me on that, right? You're going to go, did he just take that file from me and he didn't really have it? This way it's in your face. You know exactly what we've already had turned in. And by the way, for you guys, especially the guys who've been around us for a while, we don't take them, when we retrieve it, we don't take them off the list, okay? When the people say when we find out that they're already working on their own maybe, or they're working with another company, we don't take them off the list. We leave them on there because we don't want you to turn that in. That'd be stupid. If it's already been turned in, regardless of the outcome, we're not going to take it again, right? Kind of a big deal. Hey, Bob, that's a really good question, by the way. I hope I answered you. Cheryl, seeing a lot of redeemed properties in recent weeks. That's what I'm saying. That's been an issue. I do think that's going to turn a corner this summer. Like I said, guys, my gut, and I watch a lot of different signals. I follow Martin Armstrong online, armstrongeconomics.com. He's got a free newsletter. I'd really recommend you follow him. He can get a little political sometimes, but mostly he's all about cycles and the natural cycles. And I'm reading what he's saying, and I think we're in a little worse shape than you might think economically. Inflation has been moderated a little bit, certainly. You've got wages now stopping pretty much, though. I know I have a friend that is a nurse that was recently told no raises this year. And they used to get raises just to get a raise. Didn't matter if you were poor performing or whatever. There's a lot of people, a lot of employers, private and public sector, a lot of employers that are starting to pull back on raises and that type of thing because they're already at the max on their margin. Okay, but I'm excited about this year. I think we're going to be able to really help a lot of people. And I'm excited because we've taken on different roles. You know, like I said, year and a half or so, we really got into taking care of estate and probate files for people, and that's kind of a big deal. And I don't know what you guys are seeing, but what we see, especially on the tax side, is that accounts for an extremely high percentage of the foreclosures because people died. So if you can't handle working with heirs, or you don't have a network of attorneys that can handle working with heirs, you're kind of screwed. And that's the future of the business. We're coming up on the largest wealth transfer in history because everybody, we've got so many older people with wealth that it's going to be transferred at death. That's a big deal. Jason, I've been around a while, but what does it actually mean, redeemed property? It means paying off the property. Now, there's two types. Jason, awesome question, man. There's two types of redemption and foreclosures. One is pre-sale redemption. And all that means is they paid off the taxes, or they made a deal with the mortgage company, or they paid off the mortgage, in some instances. In other words, they redeemed the property. They said, well, they made it whole. It's no longer in default. Okay, that's pre-sale, pre-sale redemption. Some states have what's called post-sale redemption. Literally, particularly in the tax arena, that means certain areas, Tennessee is one of them, give people, I believe, up to a year after the foreclosure actually hit. You've got a year. The ex-owner has a year to go, oh my goodness, didn't get the notice. I'm so sorry. Here's your money. Now, in some states, they don't just have to pay back the taxes that were owed, plus some penalties and interest and all that. But in some states, they have to actually pay back the high bidder. But I believe a portion of that money comes back to them because obviously they're paying the high bidder what probably created a surplus, right? So in some states, they actually have to pay the highest bidder back. And there's ways to do that. But there's pre-sale redemption and there's post, which just means bringing it up, bringing it current. And there's post-sale redemption, which some states allow people to go. I believe Texas, if it's a homestead, and depending on the circumstances, it can be up to 2 years after the foreclosure that they redeem it and get the property back. And the people that bought it, it's kind of dangerous for the investors out there because if they went in and let's say the property wasn't stable, okay, the roof was leaking, something was caving in, whatever. If they go and fix that up, in most areas, the person that's redeeming the property doesn't have to pay them back for that. They just pay off the taxes to get the property back or pay high bidder. Most instances, they don't have to pay them back for any fix up to it, which is makes it a little interesting on investors in those states, in the post-sale redemption states. Not all states have that, guys. Not all states. Oh, that's a great point, Anne. Anne says, my theory is people are using tax refunds to redeem their property for right now. You might be right, and now that wasn't, obviously we weren't in the middle of tax refunds 3 to 6 months ago when we were seeing an extremely high redemption rate too. I think a lot of it was the people that could redeem, even if they had to really stretch for it, were figuring out, oh my God, all I owe is taxes, $3,500 in taxes. I better come up with this because if I don't, and by the way, that's maybe 3 years in taxes in some instances. So $1,200 a year, $100 a month would have been that's what the payment is really. You don't pay monthly, but you follow me. Anyway, they were looking at that going, if I have to go rent, it's $1,000 a month. And I'm obviously giving you guys numbers that aren't going to work for the Northeast or the West Coast. Out there, it's obviously way higher. But you get what I'm saying. I think a lot of people were finally going, oh my God, I cannot afford to not find a way to come up with this money. I think that's another reason why you're seeing a lot of these. It used to be SoFi that did a lot of these signature loans. You're seeing a lot more of them coming into the business, giving out loans. And I think they're just chasing a higher return. One of the things that we've seen recently that's kind of scary, it's legal and they're helping people, and I get it. But what they're saying is, here you go. You need 40 grand? Here's your 40 grand. By the way, you're giving up 50% of your equity when the house sells. So they're betting. I respect it. I respect it because they're betting the house is going to go up in value enough to cover not only the 40 grand they gave the guy, but actually 80 because they only get 50% of the equity, right? So they've got skin in the game. It scares me because I think, of course, like anything else, that's going to get pushed a little too far and people are going to get a little, taken advantage of too much. Having said that, buyer beware, seller beware, read what you're signing. We get a lot of times when the crew calls someone, they'll go, well, that's true. I lost my home. No, you didn't lose your home. And look, life comes up and I have all kinds of empathy for these guys. Like I said, I've been in rough positions before, but you didn't lose it. Okay, it didn't just disappear and oh my God, it moved down the street. No, you didn't lose it. The property was foreclosed on because of unpaid taxes or unpaid mortgage. And it's unfortunate, and I wish that hadn't happened to you, but that's what happened. Edward, there's no screenshot in the ebook for what should be in the email we send with the PDF attachment. Please clarify what should and should not be in the header and body of the email. Any notes? Edward, it sounds like you kind of read it. I mean, the header or the subject line is going to be the case name, I believe. But if you read, go on your resources page attached from your ebook, and there will be submissions on there. Also, the actual, if you read through the information that's on the actual title worksheet, that should actually help you to understand that. You also, it's got to be one attachment when you send that in. Everything that you need to send in has to be in one attachment. And support even put, if you go to the website, surplusfundsriches.net, click on support, there's actually on there, as you scroll down through that, there's one of the things he teaches you how to do is to merge files for free with a program. So that should be in there. And not only that, I believe it may even tell you the order to put it in to make it easier on us. Jason, great answer. So it is legal to claim the funds, then pay off the taxes after the sale. Whoa. Doesn't the deed already go to the new owner, or am I misunderstanding? Okay. You can't claim the funds and then redeem the property, right? Because then you could use the surplus to redeem the property. No. If you're going to redeem, the court is going to hold that surplus during the redemption period. You can't say, give me that so I can pay you back. Doesn't work that way. Doesn't work that way. You've got to be able to pay off the program, to pay off what you owe without touching that. You can't do that. And it's not, again, Jason, I want to make very clear to you, I'm not saying you're misunderstanding, but I want to make very, very clear to you that when people do that, it's not in every single state. Sometimes it's paying off just the taxes with some penalties and some other costs. Sometimes it's actually paying off whoever the high bidder was, and you've got to pay that off. You can't use the surplus funds to do that. It's kind of double dipping, really. Doesn't the deed go to the new owner, or am I misunderstanding? There's different ways to handle post-sale redemptions. There's kind of a limited deed that's issued where people understand they can kick that deed out during that redemption period. And in some areas, no, there isn't actually something, or it's not the same kind of deed you'd normally see recorded. Philippe says the tax sale strike force is a great program. I agree, Philippe. Get up with me tomorrow. And Anthony, I know you're watching this. I'm not making the same mistake I made. I'm so sorry about that the other week. But Philippe, get up with me. I believe we've got one in the chute that we just got on the chute a couple days ago. So shoot me an email, brother. Jason, great. Thanks. Okay. Fantastic. Guys, wow. It's 8:28. That went past kind of quick. Real quick, another thing you can do, guys, if you're kind of on the fence, go to the site, tax surplus. I'm sorry. Jesus, I'm thinking of tax surplus strike force. Go to surplusfundsriches.net. It's in the banner here in front of you. But go to that, and there is a link you can use to watch a 1-hour free training that is just a great overview of all of our programs. That is a great overview of the process of surplus funds recovery. It's about an hour plus video. So if you're on the fence, certainly watch that. Another thing I'd watch is if you go to the site, surplusfundsriches.net, go there, guys. Go there and click on the testimonials and see what other people have said about it. And you can tell, guys, this is not polished stuff. This is off of people's iPhones saying thank you from their home. Go check that out. Anthony says it's okay, just waiting on that deal board, brother. Okay, I got you. Hey, guys, it's been a great night. Oh, if you have panning for surplus already, how do we get the Florida program? The only way to get it, James, good question. Only way to get it, that is only available in bundles. I'm not sure if it's in the elevated bundle or just in the higher end bundle that we've got. I believe that's the elite. But it's only going to be available in bundles. Just like tax surplus strike force, once we did the sales, it's only in a bundle right now. Same thing with panning for hidden surplus funds, are only in bundles. Now listen, the way we did that is we put the pricing low enough so that even if you own 3/4 of the programs in that bundle, you're still getting a good deal. For instance, panning for hidden surplus funds. The few times we've sold that on its own after that initial launch has been for $9.97 just for itself, and it's in a bundle right now. That if you look at the bundle, you go, wow, that's a really a good deal when you think about it. Same thing with tax surplus Strikeforce. Cheryl, I know it's been asked in a previous webinar, but will there be an upcoming deals board? Yes. Cheryl, I actually took a picture of it and I just didn't update it. Part of it is it's one of the, and this is completely my fault, and I apologize profusely to you guys, right? I will be reaching out again. I've been reaching out pretty good about with people on when they get deal in a contract, good deals in a contract. But the reason it literally, they're moving so quick that I keep thinking, oh, well, I'm going to wait till the other three are on there. I'll stop doing that and just put one up. Can I purchase the program if I have a bundle? Only if you get a bundle, Dorothy. I'm sorry, that's the only way it's available right now, and that's probably going to be the only way it's available for quite some time. It's still in that bundle. It's a screaming good deal. But check out the sales prices, guys. Surplusfundsriches.net, and click on the products or programs tab, and that'll take you there. Looks like we're past time. I appreciate everybody coming out, and I hope you have a great night. Thanks, guys.